Greetings, everyone, and a very happy new year. Welcome to Salt Project Community Open Hour, the first one of the year for January 5th, 2023. Can you believe it? My goodness. I'm your Salt Project Community Manager. My name is Jimmy Chunga. Thanks for being here. And thanks to all of those of you who are watching this on YouTube as well. We're equally grateful that you're taking the time to check us out and see what's going on. Here's many of the places you can find us. Salt Project can be found on GitHub, YouTube, Slack, Twitch, Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, the Hacks Podcast as well. Today, lots of stuff today. We have an awful lot of goodies for you in the world of Salt. We're going to be talking about the Salt Project user group meetups. We have, of course, a new website and e-store. I'm going to be promoting that till the end of time. Community forums with Thomas Phipps. Wayne Werner is going to be talking about the work he's been doing with Syndics. We have a SALT LTS plan review and I believe a revised release schedule. Anil is going to be our host for that. Thank you, Anil. And we need you. It's that old Uncle CM thing. We need you. We need the community's help for RC testing. We'll talk about that coming up here in a bit. First of all, open hour. Every first and third Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. Of course, that's 11 a.m. to noon Mountain time. You can do the math from there. Works east. Our next Salt Project Community Open Hour will be on Thursday, of course, January 19th. And until then, I would highly recommend and encourage you to join a Salt Project working group. If you would like more information on this, saltproject.io/home/working, or you can just go to saltproject.io and you can hit one of the drop-down tabs there. There's several of them to choose from. They're all doing fantastic work, focusing on security, docs, Windows, you name it. So go check it out. We'd love your help there. Okay, so we're still working with our good friend Nick Hughes on this. This is the Salt Project user group meetup is what we're talking about here. I was hoping Nick would be here today so that he could maybe give us an update. These are going to be single day events with speakers, record sessions. That's recorded sessions, I guess is what that should be. We'll update that. Food, networking. If you'd like more information about this, go to Spugum. That's Nick's very proud of that, by the way. That's spugm.com. And you can learn more about how to get involved with the Salt Project user group meetups. Just want to put this, I don't know what's going on with the font here. That's interesting. So the new Salt Project website is live. It is giving you easier access to GitHub and the community calendar, which is much more user-friendly, much easier for you to get started too. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're looking at getting involved with Salt, first of all, yay, great, thank you. And we wanted to make that easier for you. So again, if you go to saltproject.io, it's a much easier way for you to get started on your journey with Salt. And we've got a much heavier focus on media for instruction and information. Good things coming this year in 2023 for saltproject.io. One of those things is the Salty store. Go check it out, buy some merch. And I wanted to remind you that we are giving away, as Anil can be our model, we are giving away Salt Project merchandise in open hour for feats of strength, feats of skill, and feats of extreme intelligence. So those treats will be given away at random. Okay, so with all of that said, now we've got all that stuff out of the way. Let's send it over to Thomas Phipps. He's going to update us with everything that's happening in the community forums. Thomas.
Hello.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year. Really didn't have much because of the long week over the holidays and whatnot. Only thing that really kind of piqued interest was somebody asking, they were kind of nervous about updating past 3004.1 because we included instructions that said to precede the master. The reason for the preceding of the master is basically a security concern. It makes it so you can't have a man in the middle attack. So if your minion tries to actually attach to a master, it's going to see, hey, that master has a different key. Your key's not going to be out there in the wild. So kind of stops that. And somebody asked after that, well, what's the difference between master fingerprint and doing that? And it's like, master fingerprint, you have the possibility of collision of the fingerprint. With if you're putting the key out there, it's very unlikely you're going to collide the actual keys. So, and there is a small, very small, like microsecond to actually calculate fingerprints. So it can be a little bit of a performance hit to use the master fingerprint instead of just preceding the key. That's pretty much all I had.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate you taking the time. I know that there was not a lot of activity over the break, as should have been the case. So thank you, Thomas. Much appreciated, man. Okay, next up, our good friend, our man. What do we call him? The joke meister. That's awfully 80s of me to use a term like that, but it's a good friend, Wayne Werner, talking about the work he's done with Syndic. What's up, Wayne?
Yeah, so I've been doing, well, a lot, trying to get our Syndics back and functional again. For those who aren't aware, we had a CVE a year ago now, I think, related to Syndics, where if you were using Syndics and the publisher ACL, basically it just didn't work, or specifically it didn't work to actually control any access. Users could run kind of whatever commands they wanted to, more or less. So we fixed the CVE, but in the process that sort of broke kind of the publisher ACL, and so that's what I've been working on, restoring that functionality. And there is a pull request out there right now. Tests are finally all passing across the gamut, and that pull request is, I'll drop that in chat as well, but 63257 for those who are interested in checking that out. But we do have some plans and desires for, you know, really tackling Syndics a little more this year, and making them sort of a first-class, well-designed citizen of Salt. But the approach that we take now is that when you are using publisher ACL, the master of masters will actually broadcast to all of the Syndic masters and say, hey, let me know which minions you have that match this target, and then it will go ahead and figure out, make sure that you've got access to do those. If you don't, then you'll get rejected as you did in the past, but if you do, then it will actually go ahead and send that. One of the nice kind of side effects of that is, previously, if you were using publisher ACL or Syndics generally, it didn't really know when all of the Syndics had returned unless you had some specific setup. But in this case, we actually know which Syndics should be able to return. And so we can actually, rather than wait until it times out and then return, we'll actually just wait until all of the Syndics have returned, and then go ahead and exit that salt call when you do a salt, you know, test.ping or whatever. So anyways, that's the work that I have been doing on Syndics. We have not quite merged that in, but if you're interested in that and you want to go give it a look, or, you know, pull down that branch and kick the tires, definitely do that. But that's yeah,
Good stuff.
And what I've been working on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Wayne. So I'm guessing if you have any more questions, you can always hit us on Slack in the community Slack, or you can hit up Wayne there individually or on GitHub. Either way. So thank you again, Wayne. All right, next up, excited about this. So Anil is here. Thank you, Anil. I'm assuming that it was either going to be you or DWAS. I'm guessing it's you.
Yeah.
To talk about the SALT LTS release plan. Take it away, sir.
Thank you. Can you go to the next slide?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So I hope it's visible for everybody. Otherwise, I can share my screen. So as basically the SEP is still under discussion, some time back, I went ahead and started sketching out that what is the plan for LTS looks like, right? Because now we are changing the way SALT is getting released. There are a lot of suggestions that came from the SEP. There are still some unaddressed, unresolved, discussions. So Daniel Wozniak would be, working on to resolve that. But I just wanted to personally share this with the community and show that basically a graphics that how the releases will looks like. It has went through many iterations before. It will go through a few more iterations before it become final based upon the resolution that happened on the SEP. But largely what we are looking at here is that we would be doing one LTS release per year, and that will remain active basically for active support for a year, and then basically for critical fixes for another year. So also, I just wanted to make sure to give the messaging that, in the past, we lost the track of, predictability of our releases. Like, hey, we do the 3005, so when will be 3001 and 2002, 2003, right? With this model, I just want to make sure that, we have a predictable release plan where every quarter, we have a release. So on the LTS, after LTS, that we do it for a year. So, for example, if we are able to do a GA in February, you can expect that, hey, in 3 months' time, we have 3000, basically the .1 release, and then .2 and .3, right? So all the users of the SALT will able to plan the upgrade of basically, and obviously have a better expectancy that, hey, when the bug fixes are coming. So in the past, we were waiting for some bugs to get in and then release. Now we'll just have, with Wonder and other, pipeline enhancement that we are doing, whatever is ready on that day that we get released. So that basically, every quarter you have, some release happening. So that probably will make things much more better in terms of releases and predictability of releases. In the past, we also had, due to the different changes happening, right? The less focused on the features. Now we are thinking that, hey, we have to do some kind of feature releases. Things are still in the discussion that how we do that. But every release it goes for 6 months of active development, and then we do a short-term release, and then basically then it goes for the long-term release. So that's the plan overall. Things are still getting discussed on that SEP. This graphics will finally, I think, it will get posted on that SEP, so that basically you all can see it and provide the feedback. But if there are any critical feedbacks, I will take it down here and make sure that we as a team discuss it and address it in the SEP.
All right, very good. Is there well, I would assume that some people have some questions about this. We will have a Q&A section here in just a couple of minutes, okay. So we'll get right over to that. Anil, is there anything else, or do we want to move on to the RC testing?
Yes. So one more thing, basically, which has been, I think we as a team has been trying hard to go on the next page itself. The
gotcha.
Next slide.
There you go.
Which we have been trying hard is basically not to break the releases, but it has been happening in the past. and nobody likes that, when there's a major release happens, or then it breaks the previous one. And one thing which we have been doing as a core team is that having a rigorous testing inside the team before we release it. We are going to approach a lot of folks inside VMware to test it out. The team has been proactively taking the intermediate builds and trying to test it and see, hey, we have any issues that we can fix before even RC. But once the RC happens, I think we need some help from community to test it so that we can fix any breaking changes, any P0s and P1s, and that does not go into GA, so that nobody has to wait for another 3 months time to get a fix for P0s. So that's the idea. And Changa, it will be great if we can run some kind of campaign around it and get help from community around it.
You got it. Absolutely, for sure. Okay, well, if there's nothing else on this, Anil is absolutely right. We can't stress enough how important it is to have your help with RC testing. And so if you have any questions about this, again, you know what to do. You can reach me personally on Slack, Anil in the community Slack anywhere. We're pretty easy to find. Pretty easy to find.
One more thing which I just wanted to tell that this for 3006, I have taken basically all the bugs. Basically, internally we have Bugzilla with VMware customer files, and then basically at GitHub I have taken the note of the issues where things were broken 3005. So once the RC is done, we would be actually distributing those issues and testing it ourselves, so that we ourselves can find out whether we have fixed those issues or not, those breaking changes, right? That's one way we will be ensuring that Salt, when we do the GA there, that's stable. But at the same time, I think having extra helping hand would be very helpful.
Indeed. Okay, thank you, Anil. By the way, Anil does not present very often here at Open Hour, so I think we all should give him a big round of applause. What do you say? Round of applause for Anil. Well done, sir. Fantastic. There it is. Again, I love it. Okay, now we're at our Q&A section of the Open Hour. What do we have? Who's got some questions? Who's going to go first? Is Nick here? Did Nick show up? Oh, he did. I'm so excited. It's Nick time. Let's open it up to anybody who has any questions. What do you think?
I was here before you, Chunga.
Oh, were you really? For some reason I thought you weren't here. Okay, well, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, okay. So I started out with a small list and it got bigger after hearing some of the stuff that's going on here. So regarding the release schedule, when we first cut over to the 3000 series, there was some talk about having major releases like quarterly and integrating bug fixes in between those. And now it looks like we're headed towards like 2 releases per year with a 6 months cadence in between them. I mean, I'd certainly like to see more releases throughout the year. I think less releases makes sense if we're just talking about the core, but there's like a ton of modules, right, that have been integrated into the core. So is there going to be a push to try and break some of those out into extensions in order to iterate faster? Because I mean, we've been talking about that for a while, it just hasn't happened.
Yeah, so I can give some update on that as well. There's another step out. I think Tom Hatch has it under his name, and it's still getting discussed. There are still some unresolved discussion points there. So we are going to make that happen this year. We have planned for it, subjected to when that step get approved. But so that will certainly make things much more leaner for the Salt, right? The overall core becomes the real we can be really focused upon what we want to do it, right? So that we will be certainly taking up, but that's like very massive exercise, right? We want to make sure that whenever we move a module to extension, at least there's one release, stable release of that has been done, right? So it's going to be very massive exercise. Again, there, I think, we would need a lot of help there too. But I think we will get started with that in this year. In fact, not sooner, in the next couple of months. I expect that the SIP will be resolved, and we'll get started on creating the extensions for non-core modules. So yes, that will happen. On the having more releases, I just want to make sure that everybody have some predictable release schedule. It's not a guesswork anymore that, hey, are you doing in February or March, right? The core team has put a lot of effort to simplify things in last 1 year. So things were, while things were seen as, oh, they were not released, but there were a lot of foundational work that has happened. The result of that would be that we will have very predictable releases starting from this year.
Okay. And I guess sort of in the same vein as that, are we in the freeze period for 3006 now? I think I saw an updated branch there. Are we frozen?
Not yet, I guess.
Not
No,
yet.
no, we're still merging PRs for 3006.
Okay. Okay, so I'll hold off on that for one tick. Sort of circling back to what you brought up earlier regarding Spugum, Chunga. So you wanted to get a status update. We have had 18 whole signups on the Spugum site, including myself and one gentleman who signed up twice. So I would love to get more input from folks as to like who's out there that's interested in this type of thing and where you might be located, so that we can like get the right geographic disbursement of these types of things. So please sign up. We've had some people that have been concerned about getting spam or marketing messages from me. I'm just using a MailChimp account that I had waiting in the wings, and people are like, oh, use other tools or something like that. Like I'm not going to. I'm using this, and I promise that you won't get spam from me. Anybody who has signed up can verify that you have had 0 messages sent to you from me, including no sign up like acknowledgement even. So I've not sent anything to anyone. I'm just looking for input, and this is the mechanism that we're using to get there.
Yeah, I can verify that. I've known Nick for years. You will never hear from him unless it's important, and he will not spam you. He might want to, but he won't. No, I'm totally kidding. He won't do that at all. Okay, do we have any other questions? Anything else?
Yeah, I got a list of PRs here.
Oh, great. Okay, well, back to Nick time, please, by all means.
So one, I just wanted to bring up kind of on Wayne's behalf, although he might be tracking it already, was one solving the warning issue or lack of warning. And I saw that it was tagged as 3006, and that's one of the reasons that I was just asking, like, hey, is stuff still squeaking in there? So I want to make sure that that actually makes it into 3006. So as long as it's on somebody's radar, that's cool.
We need to make sure it has a 3006 label on it.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
There's some.
Yeah, any PR that has that label or that milestone, we'll get into 3006.
Okay. I have 2 other PRs, 63357 and 63354. I currently have the doc strings in there updated for 3007 because I thought that we were going to be closing down like mid to late December. Should I change that to 3006 and see if we can squeak these 2 in, or should I just keep them as 3007? Like, how do we want to handle these 2?
Anyone?
Looks
Anyone?
like
Sorry, I was
Breezy
just
might be
reading.
going up. Yeah.
I was reading through it. I think we had talked about this one before. I was just trying to remember what it was. This was the one that was. This exists already. It just adds it as a command line option, right? Or a default option, config option.
So the functionality for Q equals true exists on the command line, right? So essentially 63357 allows you to set it as a configuration option, so that you don't have to set it on the command line every run. And then additionally, it does add functionality to allow you to put in a queue limit. So if we've queued up a number that's greater than that, it will stop queuing. So it's not necessarily a big change, but it's a useful one.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't see an issue getting this in for 3006.
Okay, so I can change the docs on that to have a version of 3006, and I'll label it. Same thing for 63354, which is fixing pip list parsing of local packages. It changes the underlying mechanism that's used essentially as like a new function, leveraging pip's JSON output. Pedro had a comment on there that he was going to bring it up to some folks on the core team. I'm not sure if you guys discussed that or not. But if you guys think that it looks good as is, I can change that to 3006 as well.
Pedro's here, or at least connected. Maybe he can comment on that.
I am, but I don't recall why I added the comment. So I'll have to get back to that. Yeah, I don't remember. Sorry. There's too much going on. And I really don't recall that. I recall the comment, and I recall vaguely the pull request, but not the reason why I commented. So I'll have to review it again and see why I added that.
It's unacceptable.
And
you should remember everything having to do with me.
Well, I try to remember as much as possible. But it's I'm getting to an age where it's kind of like the computer memory, like a push memory. So the last item in the list gets popped out, you know.
Yeah, I'm there too. Yeah, so let me know about that one. You can hit me up on Slack if you'd like.
Will do.
And then the last one that I have is one that we talked about during the last open hour, or at least the last one that I attended last year. And that's 63347. Spoke with Gareth and Wayne about this when we were on open hour. And it's essentially like we were talking about the ability to ignore like ordering and white space in file.managed in a way that it wouldn't trigger requisites in order to like restart services of a config file changes, something that's useful during like takeovers. And I said I would mock something up and throw it out there for folks to look at. And so this is me just reminding that if you guys could take a look at that and give me some feedback, either in the issue or on Slack or whatever, I would certainly appreciate it. Because if you think that the tactics are sound, I can freshen it up a little bit and write some tests for it and get it out there.
Yeah, I think I took a quick look when I saw the PR come in, and it looked pretty straightforward. It's using like existing code from the existing modules, existing functionality. I don't know how comfortable I would be like trying to get this for 3006. To me, this seems like more of a 3007 effort.
I don't think that I would probably even have the time to try and squeeze it in quickly. So this one's definitely a 3007 ad. I would just like to get some feedback on it sooner rather than later, so that I can sort of shore it up and get it off my list of things to do.
Okay, Nick, anything else, sir?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Do we have any other questions for our Q&A? Anything from Gary, Aaron? Welcome, Aaron, by the way. Glad you're here. Anything from anyone else?
Yeah, I had a question around the LTS STS release schedule. If we could pull that slide back up.
Yeah, absolutely. One second. Give me a second here. I will find it and bring it back. Maybe, hopefully. All right. Boy, you've stumped me. Here we go. All righty. No, that's not the right one. Hold on a second.
Almost
I can
there.
I-
Just a
I can
little
share.
farther.
I don't know why. Yeah, every once in a while I get the yeah. And Neil, if you wouldn't mind, sir, please put that up for
Okay.
me.
Actually, it's gone for me as well.
Yeah, there's this new thing with Zoom. I always feel like the most incompetent person alive every time I'm asked to share something on the fly.
Okay, I'll try and wing it. Don't worry about it. I'll try and wing it and go from memory. But the thing,
While you're doing that, I will look for it, Gary, and
Okay.
see if I can find it.
so I'm quite pleased with the way the LTS looks like. You know, basically in a year of overlap between LTS releases. But what really struck me was the STS releases are only supported for say 3 months, and they don't even go to the support cycle doesn't even last until the next release, whether it's LTS or STS. So that was there a particular reason for that? Like that just seems like a really weird release model for me. And that's like, why in God's name would you ever use an STS release? Like there's obviously a lot of people are going to be focused on the LTS. So they have, consistent support and the CV fixes and stuff. But I mean, it seems really weird to me that STS isn't even supported until the next release. Can anyone comment on first of all, am I correct in that assumption? And anyone comment on why that decision is made? I mean, I understand you're trying to reduce the support burden. It just seems like a really weird model for the STS releases to not be supported until at least the next release.
Yeah, I'm not positive. I think these numbers may not be accurate. At least my understanding is that each of the versions would with the short-term support, they would just end when that next short-term release is released. Like if you look at kind of these green arrows for the LTS, that's what I was expecting for the short term as well. So I'm not sure if
So
well, yeah.
so basically, the see 3007, right? It's a kind of feature release, and then that goes for a short-term release for 3 months.
Yeah.
Daniel, is that's what we discussed?
Yes, that's what we discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that 3007.1 would be the last release we're going to do, because any other fixes are going to go into 3008.
Yes.
So even if you have CV, so let's say we have a CV between, I guess, what do we queue, like in the 3 months after that 3007.1, you basically just wait for 3008 for the CV. Like it just seems a really, really weird model to at least not support, an STS release until at least the next release, right? And maybe
Yeah.
even over a little bit of overlap.
I think
Mhm.
if I'm understanding well both your question and possibly what our intent is, and Diwaz, you can feel free to chime in and correct, but I would my personal thought is that it's basically missing some blue arrows there for 3007 and 9, where that 3007 arrow to development STS, and then it would just be CVEs, maybe critical fixes, definitely CVEs up until 3008 is released.
So maybe we just need a blue arrow for that 3-month gap.
Yeah.
Now, actually, that this is something probably we did not discuss, that what will happen to 3007
In that 3-month period.
short-term support, right? No,
Yeah.
actually,
No.
the CV aspect of it, right? We certainly do not want to go more than 3 months on the 3007. But on the CV thing, I think probably we can discuss it again. The idea is basically that there has been, actually we lost the track of the feature development as well. So how do we make sure that we get these features fast enough in the hand of users, right? But at the same time, want to make sure that these are the feature developments, so there might be few things will be broken, right? So when the things are broken, there are 3 months of time period where we're going to fix that, right? But in that period, basically, there's another feature release which is coming up, which is 3008, right? And that will become the LTS, right? So in that way, I think we are trying to strike a balance between the long-term support release that we have it, but at the same time giving access to new features. Because one of those things we had very multiple discussion internally was that, hey, why people have to wait for another year to get access to basically features, right? And initially, Gary, what you were saying, basically that was the proposal that, hey, we just do one LTS release per year, but that sounded like not a right model where the features are not getting into early, or we give some kind of feature release which is not calling them as a actual release, and that would have caused another similar discussion that, hey, you are calling it as a feature release, but this is not a major release, so what exactly it is, right? So how we are going to support it? So what we want to do here is that we want to give early access to the features, so we get 6 months of time to develop those features, and we release it and we say that, hey, this is a feature, but this is not a long-term support release, which means that if the things break, next 3 months we are going to fix it. But when we do the LTS release for 3008, that's where basically everything will get supported. I think that's the basically thought process where we want to go.
Yeah, it's just I think at least in my opinion, I think someone would be crazy to use the STS releases because they're basically only supported for 3 months. So I think you're going to find they're not going to the STS releases aren't going to be very useful because no one's going to use them because they don't even get CVE fixes after 3 months until the next release.
So Gary, I can say right now that we're not going to leave anybody hanging on CVEs. So we definitely need to address the slides or figure out. I think we need to have a discussion and figure out exactly what our plan for that is. But we're not going to just have releases out there where it's not like we're going to patch 3006 with a CVE and then people on 3007 just are going to be vulnerable, right? We're definitely, if we're going to patch one, we're going to patch whatever's out there at the time, whether it be 3007 or a 3008. them.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
that's something we miss it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's it just looking at this slide, it's a very weird release model. But yes, if you kind of put the blue arrow in, at least to get us, I would, personally, I'd like to see critical fixes as well, but at least CVs until the next release, that would be a vast improvement.
Yeah. So I think take 3007 for example, right? Because this is just I just want to make sure that because having that discussion the SEP and then having a pictorial picture, right? It gives you different impression, right? But take this 3007 as a basically feature release, right? And it gives you early access to that. We are certainly going to discuss that what is the CV support model for this looks like and update it. But this gives you and early access to features, which has been missing, for the salt, right? Somehow basically we have been getting busy with other things. So so 3007 basically, so we have the 2 feature releases per year, and then we need to discuss that, hey, what looks like the CV model, CV release we support for this STS releases.
And I think it might be better maybe if those discussions are had, we could have you back, Anil, and we can perhaps show an updated version of this, or another
Yes,
iteration.
next
of
open hour. Yes,
Yeah.
that would be next open hour. So I think what we are going to do is basically so today basically I just want to make sure that, hey, this is how it looks like, and then any feedback that we have, we go back to drawing board, correct it, and come back next open hour and basically represent it. Idea is basically to present it multiple times in open hours, and then also basically get the graphics in the SEP, because SEP and Slack, so that everybody can get the idea that, hey, this is what it looks like, and we get the feedback.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, it's a new level of transparency and a new level of making sure that everybody is aware of what's happening, and I think it's fantastic. And does anyone else have any questions about this? Gary, do you have further questions about this, or would you prefer to wait until next open hour until we can have a refinement here?
No, this is great. Yeah, I'd love to see the refinements next open hour. So yeah, I'll cede questions to anyone else that wants to make them.
Good deal. And we love the interaction. We love the engagement. We love all the questions. This is exactly what open hour is for. So, round of applause for Gary Geeson as well. Way to go, man.
There was a question in the chat.
Yes.
The question was, is this showing development or is it also showing support?
Showing both.
Yep.
Yeah, so when you say showing
yes.
support, that's the green arrow, right? I mean, that's what the green arrow is for.
Yeah, green, and then basically the blue one for the CVs and critical fixes, and the orange one are basically the development.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions?
So I think for the STS, it should just go right to blue after the initial 3007 release. And that second one should just be blue till 3008 is released. You just don't have a green on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think let's discuss it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Anything else from anyone? If there are no other questions, Anil, thank you. DWAS, thank you very much for taking the time to do this slide and show everybody what's going on. Wayne, it is your turn, sir.
Righty. So, hope everybody has some happy holidays, and on the December 31st there, right before the clock struck midnight, I lifted up my left leg so that I could start the new year out on the right foot. Of course.
Slow clap. Slow clap. I see Shane doing the slow clap. Yes.
But wait, there's more.
Oh no.
So during the New Year's festivities, you know, you got to watch New York Times or New York Times Square. But you know, I can't say that I'm really all that impressed because they always drop the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you,
Those
Wayne.
two are the worst jokes you've told all year.
Gareth Greenway, ladies and gentlemen, adding to the joke frenzy. All right. Thanks everybody for taking the time to join us both again in person and on YouTube. Your next open hour, January 19th. We hope to see you there. Again, much thanks to everyone for contributing, and you know, Thomas and Wayne, and of course Anil and Diwaz and everyone else. Thank you very, very much, and we will see you on the next open hour. Have a great day and a great rest of your week, everybody.
Hey.
That's great. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.